go into it thinking, wow, what if I get hurt? I feel like that'll just hold you back. And for me personally, I know it. The NFL is a different beast. But if you've watched me play before, if you know me, I try to stay as safe as possible. Obviously, I'm not the biggest stature, but hits are inevitable.
Kyler Murray with us last week at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. Not a big guy, not tall, not thick. Slight. And I don't know where you could put extra meat on those bones. It's just not the frame that you would expect to get big enough to really help him withstand the pounding of playing in the NFL. But Big Cat, he's going to the scouting combine. I think my gut tells me that they're trying to create the impression he's all in with football, even if he may not be all in with football. But he knows that he has to come off as being all in with football to get drafted as high as possible. He sees where he gets drafted, and then he makes a decision, the final decision between football and baseball. I think he's going to try to keep a foot in both boats for as long as he possibly can, even though he's not going to admit that.
So you think that he will get drafted and then could still potentially go to baseball? Basically,
yes.
The team who drafts him wasting a draft pick on him?
Yes.
Oh, I disagree with that.
No, because I have yet to get the impression that he is truly and completely all in with football. And he's going to have to convince those scouts, and he's going to have to do it at the scouting combine. And, there were some awkward moments last week when he was on Dan Patrick's show. I mean, he gets into that meeting room when they do the 15-minute speed dating with these guys. He had better be clear that he's all in with football. And, you got to pay back the money to the A's. You got to renounce all you can with the A's. I don't know how you completely burn that bridge and convince people it's burned. But, I mean, if he gets drafted in, let's say he doesn't get drafted in the first round. Let's say 32 teams pass on him. He gets drafted by a team in round 2. What does he do at that point? I think that there is a certain level below which he gets drafted, maybe a certain team or 2 or 3 he gets drafted by, and he says, screw it, I'm going back to Oakland.
Okay, so he's definitely getting drafted in the first round, and I'm saying that not because he's a first-round grade or he has the prototypical NFL size, anything that a normal first-rounder would be. He's getting drafted in the first round because he's electric. It's a copycat league. No one wants to pass on Kyler Murray and watch Kyler Murray. You know it, Mike. You've been covering the NFL forever. Teams want to win, but they also want to not be embarrassed. And they don't want to pass on a guy who everyone says that's the Heisman Trophy winner. That's a guy who will fit perfectly with the new offensive system. So he's getting drafted in the first round, and it's going to happen. Whether he's going to be great, I have no idea. But he's going to get drafted in the first round because you know how the combine works. You know how the draft works. This is the time of year where we sit and we talk up every single quarterback, and you get every single quarterback going from, maybe second, third round to the first round, and every team talks themselves into Dwayne Haskins and Will Grier and Kyler Murray and Trace McSorley. All these guys are going to get drafted high because the quarterback position still rules the NFL, and teams are deathly afraid of passing on the next big thing.
Well, and I don't disagree with that because last year, 5 guys taken in round 1, they all became starters by the end of the season. So that copycat notion that we see from time to time, if anything, it is going to cause quarterbacks to get overdrafted this year. And I think the tension will be between the scouts who will look at Kyler Murray and say, this is not going to work. This is not going to happen. This guy is not nearly big enough, strong enough, thick enough to thrive at the NFL level. But then you're going to have a Jimmy Haslam who waltzes into the room and says, hey, this is what we're doing. I own the team. And owners get involved all the time and make these picks and influence these picks. You don't have to make the pick. It's one of the privileges of being a billionaire. It's very easy to influence what the people who work for you do. You don't have to say much. You don't have to drop a lot of hints to get them to understand what you want. But I think that's what happens. Now we got to look at the teams that need quarterbacks, but the teams that need quarterbacks are the teams that have older quarterbacks and they want to get on this bandwagon of having a young guy who's going to be around for the next 10 or 15 years. Those are the hot spots. I don't disagree with that, but I still think, Big Cat, there's a spot maybe in round, if he's not a top 10, top 12, top 15 pick, I think he's going to reserve the right. Deep down, he's never going to say it, but I think deep down there's still that chance to go back to baseball if he's not thrilled with how the draft plays out for him personally.
Well, of course, there's always a chance that he could go back to baseball because when you're thinking about Kyler Murray and his decision of what to do, you can't go play baseball and then say it's not working out. I can't hit a curveball. I'm going to go play football. You can play football and then do the Tim Tebow and later in your life say, I'm going to go try baseball. It probably won't work out because he needs years and years of hitting and batting practice and being in the minors. But this is the only path. Football to baseball is the only way it works, not baseball to football. The only thing I would throw out there to you is I think him going to the combine shows that he is committed to football because he's not going to spring training. I don't know the exact date for Oakland A's spring training, but if he was committed to baseball, he would right now, right this second, be saying, I need to do everything I can. I need to face pitchers every single day. I need to get as many reps as I can because it's such an uphill battle to get to the major leagues in baseball. And he's already not doing that because I would assume for the next month or 3 weeks, he will be training for the combine, not hitting, 95-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Here's what I think's going on, though. And our spring training report dates February 15. I think the A's have been deliberately cooperative with Kyler Murray, and they've bent over backwards to accommodate him, thinking that maybe if that relationship is still in existence, if people feel, if scouts, if owners, if coaches feel like there's still something there that he could pivot and go back to, maybe there will be a hesitation to make him a first-round pick. Look, the guy that was trying to sell whatever he was trying to sell last week, whatever he was trying to explain, I thought he was okay on our show. On Dan's show, it was so awkward. If that's the guy that shows up for these interviews, you may scare away some of these teams. And ultimately, the coach may go to the owner and say, I know you want this guy, but I can't guarantee you he's going to sign a contract. He may go right back to baseball. And I think part of what the A's are doing, they are playing it this way to try to kind of subtly scare off the NFL by causing them to think that Kyler Murray very well may say, hey, you know what, the A's have been great to me. I'm just going to go play baseball. I think we have to treat that as a serious possible outcome.
You're right on all that. The one thing I'll give him a slight pass for is I don't know how many college kids can go from Norman, Oklahoma to the Super Bowl to having to be interviewed by the likes of Dan Patrick and Mike Florio, titans of the industry. That would probably,
we really grilled him.
I was 21 years old. I'd be scared
too. We put him under the hot light.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.